You can tell me anything you want about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but I'll forever think it's a 10 out of 10 because I got this cool hat when I bought it. And you can't tell me otherwise. Jesus Christ, how do I even begin this video? Well, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out less than 2 weeks ago, and in that time period, the Pokemon fandom sorta just imploded on itself in the weirdest way possible. These games, man, it's just so hard to find a way to talk about these games since they're so fresh in our minds, but I knew after the first hour of playing this game, I had to get some sort of video out that wasn't just a review. Because somehow, some fucking way, I genuinely believe that this game is the worst Pokemon game ever, but also the best Pokemon game ever at the exact same time. So I'm gonna try to explain what do I mean by that and why exactly you should agree with me. So this is TheGlassHalfFull, and let's talk about the awful amazingness of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. First and foremost, I gotta humble myself a bit, so join me as I admit that I was wrong. I stated in my previous 2 videos that we are 3 days removed until the greatest Pokemon games of all time graces our lives and solves world peace itself. And while that was partially due to the hype and clickbait, I stated an opinion, and that opinion was wrong. Kinda. These are the best Pokemon games in a way, but I'll get to that later. So let's talk about the Dawn fan in the room first, and did Gamefreak just not play this game before they released it? Like, how did they get away with all of these performance issues? And how did they show gameplay in trailers without any lag drops or glitches happening? Because it's not like you see these issues once in a while. No, you see something not working as intended every 3 seconds or so. You can just walk through a patch of grass and suddenly your game turns into a Microsoft PowerPoint. And it's not even the cool ones with all the cool slideshow effects. No, it's just kind of choppy. For a game to release in this state wasn't already bad enough, but it's from a very recognizable company with a very recognizable mascot. I mean, I guess the same can apply for Sonic 06, but that was like 15 years ago. And you can't even say it's because the Switch is underpowered, when we got games like Xenoblade who look much more graphic heavy, running beautifully on the overgrown toaster. So what's Game Freak's excuse? It's ironic too, because as hyped as I was for these games, I had a lingering thought in the back of my mind. Like, I was editing my last video at like 3 AM, and I just thought to myself, didn't Legends Arceus come out earlier this year? A pretty girthy, somewhat open world Pokemon game that took a decent amount of time to develop, and now we're getting Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, an even bigger and an actual open world game in the span of 10 months. Is that gonna affect both games negatively at all? Who am I kidding? I'm just some YouTuber. A company worth $1 billion surely know what they're doing. And we fast forward to the day before the game launched, and I wake up and immediately think, hey, the first batch of early review copies should be up. Let's take a look at, oh fuck. This was not very fun. Everyone was going crazy about the issues and how shit the game was, and it made my excitement level go from an all-time high to not an all-time high. So much so that I actually canceled my pre-order after seeing all this negativity, and would make me more cautious about buying this game, as any reasonable and smart person would. This is a lie. He did not cancel his pre-order. No, he actually still went to the midnight release and waited 2 hours to get his copy. Yes, it was very cold. And when I got home and booted up the game, I was more scared than anything. Those past 24 hours was such a roller coaster of emotions that kind of just overwhelmed me more than anything. Alas, I needed to form my own opinion on this game. And come on, I spent 2 hours in the cold. I'm not gonna let that go to waste. And see how buggy and unplayable it really is. And what do I exactly think of this game? At least the trees look pretty good. Just when I thought we had a fantastic game on our hands, Gamefreak had to Game Freak them up and put some unbearable shit in it. Like, again, how did Scarlet and Violet make it past the game testers? Did they pay off the entire budget of this game to the game testers so they won't check the thousands of bugs in this game? This is a AAA title. You can't have a game run like this and think it's okay. Like, it makes Sword and Shield and Legends Arceus run a lot better in comparison. And there's no reason for the game to run this terribly because the graphics aren't nothing special. And speaking of, it's pretty well known I don't really care about Pokemon graphics. Can I admit it does not look stellar or even good sometimes? Yes, I fully know that and would love something a lot better. But again, I don't really care. But now the story of this game is, oh look, the game doesn't run that well. But also, when it does stop in time, the shots don't even look that good. What makes it feel even worse is that now people are saying, oh, it's the Switch's hardware fault. It's 200 power. Don't blame Gamefreak. No! Shut up! Don't say that! The Switch has run way better looking games at a much better frame rate than this. Like, come on! This came out 5 years ago and it runs perfectly well. Or even this year when Xenoblade 3 came out and it looks great. What can possibly be the excuse for the highest grossing media franchise ever? How could this thing I'm pointing at right here kinda be an example of the highest grossing media franchise thing ever? Yes, I'm gonna say those words a lot in this video. Turn it into a drinking game if you want, I don't care. So it's a lose-lose situation where people think it's either the Switch's hardware fault, which it kinda isn't, or it's the Pokemon Company's fault, which it kinda is. Wait, no, yeah, it's exactly that. It's their fault. And speaking of more things that should be in a AAA game made by the highest grossing media franchise ever, voice acting. Where is it? Like, these characters can seem so cool, but just seem so robotic because there's no voice coming out of them. You guys really couldn't get the voice actors from the trailers to just play them again? Could even make slight grunts or voice whispers like Mario 64? Alright. Cool. Honestly, they could have hit me up and I'll do some vocals for free. Here's a sample I made. Use it. If you want. Oh, hey, Glass, how was your day? How are you to battle me? So now we have another Pokemon game that should obviously have vocals, but just don't. Excluding Ed Sheeran for some fucking reason. And then there's just other stuff that really pisses me off, like the character customization, or lack thereof character customization. Like, you can change your hairstyle or eye shape, and that's pretty cool, but where's all the drip? It's just all student uniforms. Which, sure, you're supposed to be a student. That's the whole point of this game. And it goes along with theming and everything, I guess. But fuck you! I want to wear a slick-ass jacket like in Sword and Shield. Who looks at a student uniform and is excited to wear it everywhere they go? And also, if you want to do the whole theme of being a student with your outfits, you did a terrible job of doing it. Like, Legends Arceus did the whole thing a lot better with these traditional old Japanese outfits, and you can still look amazing in them. Or in fucking BDSP, where you have more outfits and customization options than this. I just realized I talked about Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl in a better light than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. You don't usually do that. That is not physically possible. The game just has such outstanding and awful blunders, and it's just so sad to see after the build up to this game. Like, at least with the controversy for Sword and Shield, people expected for it to be bad, but this game kept it a surprise. And all of these issues, we could expect them out of an indie company or just a company with less money. But again, this is from the highest grossing media franchise ever. And as an extreme Pokemon fan, it just really sucks to see. That being said, these are the best Pokemon games ever. When people say a fantastic game doesn't need great graphics or stability, this is the textbook definition of that exact game. A game that doesn't offer much visually, but damn, you're gonna have a fun time with it. By far, gameplay-wise, it exceeds the entire series, with a region that actually feels like the world of Pokemon. Running around and seeing a herd of Tauros, Jigglypuff swing in the wind, and just a fun atmosphere to run around is exactly what the series needed. After the initial 1-hour tutorial you have to sit through at the start, another big issue, I guess, the game is like, alright, go wherever you want. I don't fucking care. Just leave, please. And it gives you like 18 bosses to complete with 3 different stories to go through. And after that, I got really excited. And it finally clicked that this is what Pokemon was missing. Because as much as Legends Arceus was open world, it did limit you somewhat in the areas you have to go through in the manner you progress in. And Sword and Shield just handcuffed you the entire time so you never got lost. But now you can go wherever you want and complete 3 pretty engaging stories. The gyms are always entertaining, of course, especially with the new gym challenges. Some of them are busts, but they are so much more interactive than the gym puzzles of the past. Like, I had fun with the old ones, but most of the time it was just push a button there, move that, battle a trainer, and rinse and repeat. But these are just so much more creative. I especially loved Larry's gym challenge, where it's just guess his favorite food by looking for clues in the town, and I enjoyed that a lot more than I thought I would. But the gym challenge is way more fun because it's not the only thing you do this time. Sword and Shield. Like, the Team Star plotline was kind of wacky because you kind of just beat up kids that were already being bullied and then destroy their car as well. But I enjoyed seeing their stories progress. And damn, I did not give a single shit about Arvin at the start of the game, but as the story progresses and we see his character arc, he becomes one of my favorite characters in the entire series. In fact, I like all the side characters because they all have their own thing going on. Since they're not just rivals trying to combat you, but they have their own thing going on. And with the way the game is structured with the 3 stories, it helps flesh out every character and not just squish them together like the rivals from X and Y. And Nimona is a nice rival actually done right because she really likes battling, where it's genuinely creepy the type of things she says sometimes, but it makes it more funny. But my point is the 3-story structure constantly keeps the gameplay fresh since you're not doing the same thing over and over again. And for a pretty repetitive series, this is possibly one of the greatest changes Gamefreak could make. And it really goes without saying how awesome the rest of the characters and how the Pokemon are. Some really good designs in both ends, and I'm surprised there's not a lot of people talking about some of the new Pokemon. Like, guys, we got a really cool dolphin Pokemon. It took a bit too long and no one really talks about him, but I love it anyways. A lot of the new Pokemon are great, like Tinkaton is one of my favorites because it reminds me of Power from Chainsaw Man. And past and future forms are such great concepts, but I'm confused why they never advertised it. It looks like such a big marketable idea they just kind of sidelined, but I guess it was a cool surprise in the game. And Sprigatito, I thought I wouldn't like if it became bipedal, but I really like Meowscarada. And Quaxinel might or may not be growing on me as well, but it does not matter because Scoldridge is the best. So there is literally so much to love about these games, and I love the creativity of it. But how do you play through it if it looks like this? And honestly, you kind of just get used to it. And those bugs and lag drops, yeah, they're just another quirky thing about this game. I've seen some really funny glitches on Twitter and experienced some jank myself that just really gives these games more of a personality than it should. It's hard to explain, and I don't think any non-Pokemon fans are gonna entirely get what I'm saying, but now it confuses me all the more because these are really the best Pokemon games ever, and the worst ones at the exact same time, which just leaves the series in the weirdest state possible. When the game immediately came out, there was a lot of criticism and hate for good reason. We shouldn't be receiving a game like this from the largest grossing media franchise ever, and it just felt awful. But as time went on and people played more of the game, you would see a lot more appreciation and positivity, which was just weird for me because we saw the exact opposite happen not too long ago. So it's a general agreement that Scarlet and Violet in many ways are some of the greatest mainline Pokemon games ever, but have some obvious issues that in no way should be ignored and needs to be criticized so it doesn't happen again. Which I agree with. As much fun I have with these games, for a company of this caliber, it's pretty inexcusable for it to be like this, and must be patched and fixed as soon as it can. And on the outside, can really harm the reputation of a game series. Like Pokemon Company, I get it. I am well aware of the outside forces that pushed you to release these games in this state. The anime, the merch, the TCG, Santa, because he likes playing Pokemon before Christmas, I guess. Rely on you to push these games out as soon as you can, but come on! I think we as Pokemon fans can wait a bit longer to receive the best product we can. Zelda fans can, and look what happened with Breath of the Wild. Elden Ring is so highly acclaimed, and GTA 6 will probably be a good game. I can wait as long as we get the best product possible. Like, who knows what would happen if Legends Arceus released this November and Scarlet and Violet released next November. It could get a Game of the Year nomination. But then again, this game sold 10 million copies in the first 3 days, beating Splatoon 3 a few months prior. So I guess Pokemon is just unstoppable. It's funny too, I've talked to friends who are Pokemon fans and I tell them how amazing these games are despite its obvious flaws, and they just tell me, haha, Copium, the games look like dog shit. And man, I can't disagree with them. Those are valid points and there's no room for arguing. But then I talked to another friend who hasn't played a Pokemon game in years, and even with the glaring issues, they absolutely love the game, and I can't disagree with them either. This series has always perplexed me in the weirdest ways possible, and after this game, my ongoing turmoil with the series will probably end when I die. And so it begs the question, what do I want to see from the series next? What do I want after the awful amazingness of Scarlet and Violet in 2023? And the answer is nothing. Like, literally nothing. My honest to God biggest hope of 2023 for Pokemon is that they take a break with mainline titles. Okay, wait, no, don't take a break. First patch this game as best as you can, and then start making the next game, but don't make it release in 2023. I think I can speak for the fandom when I say you can take as much time as you want and no one would complain. Take your time because we know you can make good quality products as long as you don't have super strict deadlines like before. It will only help the series and my sanity in the long run. You know, I want to actually ask the audience of who Gamefreak actually cares about and see what they think about all of this. You know, kids. So that's why I asked my 11-year-old cousin what he thinks about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and all of its problems and shortcomings, and if he actually cares about them or not. Hey man, quick question. Do you still like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet even though they don't run the best?
Pokemon is for fucking losers.
Yeah, he agreed with me. He agreed with me.